Welcome to 2024 Our Story, a podcast exploring what it's like to be attending Scripps College in a moment when the world is recovering from a global pandemic. I'm Ellen.
And I'm Alyssa. And today we are going to be talking about midterms coming up really soon. By the time that this is published, I think it'll probably be here for a lot of people or have already happened. So we're just going to be talking about that and dealing with that and mental health surrounding midterms.
Yeah. So, when are your midterms, Alyssa?
Because my classes are mostly like English classes and not really classes where you have like a huge test. I have papers instead. Nicely, they're spread out. I have a paper a week for 3 weeks in a row. So that kind of feels like my midterms, except it's a little bit prolonged because that's 3 weeks of every single week focusing on writing a paper.
So that's a lot of papers. And you already finished one.
No,
right? You got one done.
That was not a midterm one, but yes, I did write one so far.
Oh, I'm proud of you. You finished one.
Oh, thanks. It's okay. It wasn't too long. It was like a warm up, which I appreciate.
No, that's good. Yeah, because I know by the time this comes out, I will have completed 2 midterms. So
really?
Yay! I did my math, and then I'm doing geology next week.
Good luck.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about midterms and everything coming up really fast?
I honestly don't know how to feel about it because I don't think I've mentally processed the fact that they are midterms and that I should care. Very deeply about them. I just expose myself.
No, it's okay. Podcast, I think a lot of people probably feel exactly the same way.
Honestly, yeah. I think to my geology test that I have next week, and I'm like, I should probably be studying more for it. Not gonna lie. Because we had geology quizzes, which are like less than the exam, and I took those kind of like with a grain of salt. But now I know I need to pay attention and get them done.
That's how I feel about my econ quizzes, but there's 4 of them and they actually make up a good chunk of my grade. So when I really think about it, they're like half midterms each time. Quarter.
You had a quarter of a midterm?
Quarter of a final.
Oh, that's true.
Each one. So 2 of them is a midterm. Yeah, but I should really, I just can't, when I really think about it, I'm like, oh dang, that's a lot of my grade.
You got this though. I think we're both going to do great. I think after this podcast is recorded, it will settle in that we are going to start midterm season next week, for me at least, and that's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's really coming up super fast. I mean, I cannot believe right now it's week 5.
I know, we're ending week 5. Oh wait,
when this is published, it'll be week 6.
Time flew by really quickly.
I know, a little too fast. I can't say that I appreciate it. I think something really nice about college and being in person is that you do get to see people in your community who are going through really similar things. And I'm sure that around midterms, you're going to be seeing people really stressed out. And I mean, honestly, good luck to everybody doing midterms in the first place. Good job to those who have already done it. But it is really like weirdly comforting to know that other people are feeling the same way. So I think, yeah, it's just, that's like a good part of being in person. I know that I've been talking a lot about like the difficulties of being back in person, but I am really grateful to be able to like see people and be like, damn, I'm struggling, but we can all talk about it together because we all are struggling.
Exactly. You don't feel that isolation anymore, which is very nice, very nice. But I wonder how this transition from feeling isolation in terms of how the college has responded to it has changed. Because you had mentioned earlier that last year we got all of those emails and every single webinar we went into, they acknowledged that times are rough. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've still gotten that while we're here?
I think it was really important that they did that while online because obviously people did not have the same experiences. I was super lucky when being online and stuff. So maybe I personally didn't need those messages for me as much. I still appreciated it. I do think though that they could do a little bit more about being in person, not just focusing on like COVID, which is super important, like not diminishing that or anything, not taking away from what they're doing and what they're trying to do, making students feel comfortable. But I do think that there is kind of like this elephant in the room of like, hey, students are burning out super quickly right now. And I think you can see it. And I don't think it's really been addressed as much. And I know that the admin and everybody's like also under a lot of pressure adjusting too. I just think that it would be nice to kind of acknowledge it and be like, I mean, again, we're going to probably talk about this in a later episode, but like knowing resources on campus and being able to figure that out, because we are in person for the first time, and like more than half of the people here have barely been on campus, so they don't know maybe the resources on campus as well. And that's something that I think a lot of students may need right now. So I think there should be more of a kind of support or a push for talking about those resources just a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think COVID has been such a big thing, specifically safety precautions and making sure that everyone's following the guidelines that are put in place. That's taken the front seat. But I do honestly wonder if in a regular school year they would have sent more information out about that. And I wonder if it is just the situation we're in. Because we're in this extremely weird situation, right? Because we have COVID precautions taking the front seat. We have an interim president. Like the president's changing out and no one's completely sure what's going on there. So you have those two combined things that just all over the place. But no, I agree. I think it would be nice to have those resources. I know in my experience when I'm talking to people, like people I know have dropped classes, like they're down to 3 classes because 3 classes is enough at this point. Like you're adjusting to not only taking a larger college load, you're adjusting to being in person after like maybe 4 classes was an okay load when you're at home. So finding the balance is definitely feeling a lot more challenging right now. And I honestly don't know what it would have been like if we were to jump right in, if like our first year we were just in person. I wonder if that would have changed anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much going on that it's just seems very, very difficult to kind of try to support students more for COVID and for mental health and for just kind of talking about their experience, because it's really different. But at the same time, like this is when it's needed the most, you know?
Yeah.
So
no, I definitely agree. I think that this area needs to be addressed.
Yeah, and
more.
I mean, this part's also different for everybody, but personally, I think that being social too is I'm adjusting, and it's a little bit more draining than it has been in the past when I was used to being social and like seeing people every day in high school and stuff. So while like even kind of like when you're in your free time, when you're trying to kind of like relax from classes or like kind of focus on yourself a little bit, that can also be draining. And I mean, if we're all going through this together, we want to support each other, but we also have to kind of recognize when you kind of need space for yourself. But there is this like, for me, there's like this like fear of missing out, you know, so there's that FOMO. But I do think that it's coming to a point where I'm kind of burning out a little bit. So to kind of set that time, I think, where it's okay to be by myself, or it's okay to kind of like not be as comfortable being social all the time, you know? So I think that like self-reflection has been super helpful for me, and just trying to find out, you know, what resources can we use, and we will talk about that in the future.
Yes, really giving you a preview of the next
little sneak peek.
No, yeah, I agree. I think that's something that we are currently working on as roommates, right? Making sure that each person has their time in the room by themselves when they need it, or time to just decompress, whether that be with each other or without each other. I get it if you don't want me here.
Uh,
That's a separate conversation though.
Okay.
But
okay, whatever.
But no, I think that's something that those are conversations that we didn't have to do last year. But which are really important right now. And then also, yeah, I agree. I think that I'm also starting to feel burnout because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And I think that my burnout is a little bit different than yours because I don't know if we've established this, but I'm not as social as Alyssa here. She is like a social butterfly recently.
Oh.
But no, my social things are currently clorgs. So I've been involved in a lot more clorgs, or not even a lot more. I think I'm doing less than I did last year, but because it's in person, it just feels like more. And so because of that, I think there's a lot on my mind, whether that be for the clerks, work I have to do for that, work I have to do for classes, and then also thinking about like SAGE and studying abroad. If I want to do that, I need to fill out that application, which I have not done yet. So there's just so much going on. And at this point in the semester, when everything is going crazy, it's kind of like I'm starting to feel the tiredness. But I mean, on the bright side, I'm very fortunate. My PCD is very close with me. And before the semester even started, she sat down with me and said, hey, if you're feeling burnout, you need to tell me so we can sit down and talk about it. So that is good. I have that resource, and I would encourage anyone out there who's starting to feel burnout to use that resource if you're comfortable with it. But no, I don't know. It's really tough. This year has been a lot. And it hasn't even been like a year.
I know. It's been 5 weeks. 5 weeks, guys. And this is where we're at, which is fine. I do think I think with bringing it back to midterms, I do think it's okay sometimes to, I don't know, I feel really guilty when I'm like really burnt out. I focus more on like completing assignments than like doing them always, like really like trying to make the most out of each one. And then I feel really bad about it. But honestly, I had that happen for one assignment where I was like, it was just a lot that week. It was just so much going on, and I got it done. But I just talked to my professor about it, like how I was feeling. And honestly, that really helped. And it's a little intimidating sometimes to kind of reach out and get that help, even if it's just from a professor, just being like, hey, it's been a lot lately. I want to talk to you about how I'm feeling, about how this assignment went, maybe thinking about strategies for the future, because I think those connections online, I did not try as much to like connect with my professors outside of class unless like I really needed it. But I think kind of realizing that even if it's not like a huge resource on campus, like you have people, like you said, like your PCD, your primary contact dean.
Yes, that's good to identify.
And you also do have professors. I'm lucky to have already met this professor online, and I really loved her and loved talking to her. But so I think just kind of being like, it's okay if you're like doing your assignments to like complete them, or like you don't have to always feel super bad about that. I'm honestly talking to myself right now. I don't know if any of you guys feel this way. This is just me. But yeah, it's okay, because even if you have those moments, just talking it out can be really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we've already started this, but like talking it out, is there anything else you've been doing to like help yourself maintain a healthy mindset and good mental health as we start coming into midterm season, or for you paper season, which technically are midterms?
Yeah, they are midterms. They're just like more spread out, I guess. But I think for me, a lot of it is internal pressure academically. Just I don't think it's like the healthiest thing that I've done, but I do kind of like at this time stress over like my letter grade being like, if I get this on this, and if I do well on this, or if I did kind of not as well as I had hoped on this other assignment, like what can I do? Like really focusing on those numbers and what it's gonna look like in the end. And I think that hasn't always been the best because it's just me doing that to myself kind of. But I just think like recognizing things like that kind of, and being like, there's like the point of these classes, I just need to remind myself is that like it's not just to get that letter grade at the end. Like I'm here to grow. And if you're already at your best, like at the best, not your best because your best changes over time, but the best, quote unquote, whatever the heck that means. If you're there, like there's no room to grow. There's no way up. So exactly. I feel like just remind, like personally, this week, I talked to Ellen about this earlier, but like I don't always talk the most in class. I'm not naturally the person who will speak up the most, but kind of recognizing like, hey, this is something I want to work on a little bit. So I want to think about this, maybe talk to my professors about it, and then be like, I have this room to grow, you know, and being like, not getting down on myself and be like, dang, I just can't do this. And it's like horrible and I haven't done this as much as I wanted this semester, but just kind of trying to change that mindset, which is really hard. But you know, just like things like that have been really helpful, and that self-reflection, but like not to the point of nitpicking at everything that I do, you know. But yeah, what about you, Ellen? How have you been feeling about academics, and what have you done to kind of, well, specifically midterms, but I kind of broadened it a little bit.
I mean, I agree with you. I think Alyssa and I had this conversation, as you mentioned earlier. I'm taking a media studies class, and it's a seminar class, and so it's also conversation. And I think I also went and talked to the professor about contributing, and I think honestly that's really helpful because it's someone else to hold me accountable to my goals. Because when I was talking with him, it was setting a goal of speaking one class, and once you set those goals and have someone who can hold you accountable, it's kind of like how working out works in my head. If you have someone you work out with, they'll keep you accountable to what you want to do when you're working out. Whereas if I just go by myself, which I do, so I don't know how this helps me in any way. I just go, that's true, I do the classes. That's a very good comparison. When I go to classes that are an hour long, I stay for the hour and do whatever they want. When I go by myself, I run on the treadmill for like 20 minutes and then do like 10 minutes of other stuff, and then I leave. So it's only half an hour. So, you know, having someone there to push you and hold you accountable is great. In terms of academics, in terms of getting through midterms and keeping myself sane, I would say, honestly, I agree with something you said earlier about writing stuff down and talking stuff out. Writing is like a very calming thing for me, and something that helps me really like get my mind out, or get myself out of my own head. And so I have plug for Passion Planner. I have a Passion Planner, and after each month, there's I know, please sponsor this podcast. But no, they have this section after each month where you reflect on how the month went. They have like a set of questions that you just answer. Those have been really useful. They were really useful for me in September. And October is coming up, which means that I will be filling that out this weekend. It's great. And then there's also like, I also like write a little like reflection thing at the bottom of each week thing. So it's good that helps keep me sane and reflect on how the week went, and help me think about what it is that I want to improve on for the next week, or if there is something that I'm really proud of, and help me like just celebrate that in my head.
That's good. Yeah. That's super good. I mean, yeah, I think we all can be held accountable sometimes for what we want to do, but also taking breaks.
Exactly. And I think spending time with friends too. Or it's very important. Spending time with friends or alone, that's true. Depending on your state of mind and whether you want to be with friends or alone.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not because I don't want to be with people, you know? Like,
I get that.
I love being with my friends and I love being with people. I need to remember that naturally, I just am more of an introvert and I need some time to recharge.
Yeah. No, and I totally agree. Introverted people? Why did I say it like that? Introverted people like you and me do need our time to recharge. I will say I have been recharging a lot recently. Alyssa, you may need
Naps.
to recharge more.
I miss taking naps.
2024 Our Story is published through Scripps Communities of Resources and Empowerment. This episode was edited by Ellen Hu, and Instagram graphics are designed by Alyssa Wend. Callie is courtesy of Wadaboy on Pixabay. If you are interested in joining us on an episode, please fill out the Google form available within our link tree. You can find that link, as well as more content, on our Instagram page at 2024 Our Story Podcast. Also be sure to check out SCORE's upcoming events in the month of October. Look out for our tabling in front of Malott, Halloween crafts, and a ceramics event with visiting faculty. To find dates and times for these events, check out SCORE newsletters in your inbox. That's everything we have for you today. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye!